Yo, what is up, guys? I just wanted to do sort of an updated look at marksmanship here for going into 8.2. This is, we're kind of nearing the end of the tier. We are on Zakul right now, my team, and then we'll get onto Ajara, hopefully kill her soon, and kind of be done with it. Obviously, there won't be like a Crucible of Storms or something else to do afterwards, so we'll actually be able to just kind of farm this raid. So that's something to look forward to. But I just wanted to kind of talk about the trinkets and the essences quickly, the Benthic and the on-hit shit and all that. So in Uldir and then in Battle of Dazar right, we loved haste and mastery. So marksmanship, we loved haste and mastery, and beast mastery did as well as marksmanship. And then beast mastery has moved towards crit now, but what has happened now is everything is verse. It's all about versatility. Any versatility you can get your hands on, it's go for that verse. If you have sockets, it's versatility. Like no matter what. Once you're at this level, so I mean, I'm at 436 now. This is my raid gear, my non aberration belt. The aberration belt brings my obviously my item level down, but let's talk about the Benthic first. So yeah, I'll just do that. That'll be easy. I have the Visage of Bloody Horrors. We saw that last tier. It's the same helm that I was using. I love Duck and Cover. And then Surging, Unerring, you do want to have one Surging, and then Unerring, Unerring is pretty good. In the Rhythm is actually even better this tier than it was last tier. So in the Rhythm, you're going to be wanting to aim for that over Unerring Vision as your two like secondary traits. And then the other one here, Loyal to the End. This trait can be pretty good. Especially when people are dying, then you get a bunch of stats. It is not, better than Unerring Vision or In the Rhythm, but I'm pretty sure it's third. Uh, there is another one. Hopefully, it's on one of my pieces here. Do I have it so I can show you? Yes. So this right here, it's called Undulating Tides. This is one of the two, I guess. The new traits in the raid. So the raid trait from Eternal Palace. It's damaging spells and abilities have a chance to crash a wave upon your target for damage. It's really, really good. It's very high damage. But it is a sim trap because when you go below 50% health, which is going to happen all the time on progression, then you cannot proc the damage again for 45 seconds. So I mean, if you know that you can stay above 50% health, if you can just get down to 51 and then heal yourself or just make sure you're never getting below 50, then yes, this is a very good trait. I don't use it though. It's very good. It's very high damage, but again, it's a sim trap on progression. But if you're doing like a farm night on heroic and if you're pushing mythic and then you're just farming heroic, it can definitely be good there because you probably won't fall below 50% because you're kind of overpowering the content at that point. But Undulating Tides it's just kind of a farm trait for when you're not falling below 50. Because if you fall below 50, just think of it as you're just losing like 45 seconds of that buff. And it's just zero damage. It does zero. It's not even like one or two. It's zero damage when you go below 50. So that is a sim trap. So that one trait, it's ranked very high, like on Simcraft and on Blood Mallet and stuff like that, because it does do a lot of damage, like on a patchwork 100% HP for yourself fight. But again, it's kind of a sim trap because if you're taking a lot of damage and you're soaking shit on Behemoth and Ashvane and all this crap, you're going to be taking damage because you need to in order to do stuff constructively and productively in raid. You got to take damage, so this isn't the best trait. That was the only trait really that I needed to talk about. All the other traits are the same. I mean, surging and unerring and in the rhythm and focused. Obviously, you want one focused, one surging, and then basically 3 in the rhythms, and then 1 of whatever you want, unerring, basically. This gear isn't that great. I have 2 surging shots right now. The damage stacks. The 15% aim shot chance reset does not stack. But, the damage stacks, so it's not 0 damage, for stacking them. So my rapid fires actually hit really hard right now, which is kind of fun. But I would rather have an in the rhythm. So let's just go through my gear really quickly. Everything has a socket. Basically, you're looking for sockets. Sockets in order to get versatility or stuff with versatility. Here we've got the Ori's Tidal Bracers. These are definitely the best for the entire tier. I will never replace them, even 455 socketed, like, fuck, you know, leech, like, you know, instant kill. Like, these are going to be the best. And if, I mean, you're hopefully familiar with Benthic. Benthic gear, it only works in Nashatar or Eternal Palace. So it works in the raid, which obviously is very relevant because that's where you're doing most of your, you know, cutting edge kind of DPS. Obviously, it does not work in Mythic Plus. So having a different set for Mythic Plus can be very relevant. But these are just so good. They have a socket and they have haste verse, which are actually pretty good for me right now. Haste, because I got really low on haste when I was trying to stack verse recently. So haste is actually pretty decent. And then these are the same ones. I've had these for like 3 months, these gloves. You know, it's hard to replace a socket. That's just the truth. Even a 445, it would be, you know, it would be iffy if it didn't have versatility, because having a verse socket is just too good. This is a nice Warforged from Mythic, a 455 belt. It's not even that great. I mean, there's no verse and there's no socket, so it's you know, it's pretty close to some stuff that is like 420, but it's just a little better. And obviously, you're getting a bunch of stamina, and then just, you know, just flat agility, you know, just all damage. So it's still pretty good. Haste, again, haste is pretty decent for me, so this is still a good belt for me. These are the leatherworking pants. I highly, highly recommend you do leatherworking. It's relatively cheap. It's pretty cheap. And you can just kind of re-roll the pieces until you get the one you like. This one was heavy verse and light mastery, which is perfect for me, basically. You basically just want to get something with verse on it, heavy verse. These boots, so these are the almighty Giga boots. These are the haste verse and then verse socket, but it is damage you deal with crits increased. It is 3%, so it doesn't say, it's 3% crit damage. I'm pretty sure. I'm almost 100% positive. The other one is the Azari Storm Surger links. These again are great. You know, crit mastery is okay, but it's got that socket verse. This one is increased damage to aberrations while you're in the raid. So there are 2 aberration bosses, Orgozoa and Zakul, and along with their ads. The ads during the fights are also aberrations. So this belt, I think it is 2% damage, just flat. All damage done increased by 2% against aberrations. But of course, that just means the whole fight, basically. That is better than my 455 belt, believe it or not, on those fights. So on the aberration fights, this 410 belt is better than my 455. And so that is the magic of Benthic. That is the Benthic slot machine. I mean, I hope you've been rolling the slot machine on your alts. You know, if you've been running like 14 different alts, hopefully, to feed your main with a bunch of mana pearls so that you can roll all the correct Benthic gear. So yeah, these boots are also really good because it's 3% crit damage. And obviously we are critting a lot. We don't stack crit. I'm at 862 right now. And I have 2 unerring visions. So I am getting some crit, definitely. But to go with the crit, the Ashvane's Razor Core, I'll just go straight to this. This is a really strong trinket. This is the strongest trinket other than the other trinket, basically. These are 2 definite trinkets for the raid. The second trinket, you might want to keep one that is just kind of a fire and forget, like something chance on hit to increase your stats or something for Mythic Plus. Just because this one in Mythic Plus, it's still good, but it's just like you might want to, you know, just make your life easier and not have to stand there and channel. And I'll show you how that works in a second. But the Ashvane Razor Coral, just to explain this, so I'm at the target dummy here. So basically, as you see, it's a 20-second cooldown. But basically what the strategy is for the whole fight, and I will switch this really quick just to give an example. The Guardian of Azeroth is 3 minutes. It's a 3 minute cooldown, so you probably use it on pull and then at 3 minutes. And then a lot of fights, it lets you get the third use at 6 minutes. And I don't think there's anything that lasts 9 minutes in the current tier. So you're going to get probably 3 uses on longer fights, and the shorter ones like Savara, you know, a couple of the easier bosses, you're only going to get 2 uses. So of the Guardian of Azeroth. So you use it basically at the end of the fight when you have your final true shot and you're executing. And how you use Razor Coral is you hit it at the beginning of the fight like that. It does damage and then it puts 1 stack. And then as I'm attacking, it is going to stack, hopefully. Sometimes you can get kind of dicked by the stacks, but it is just like the Ink Pod trinket. And the Ink Pod trinket, I was using that for a little while, but I do not use it anymore because it was kind of, you know, it's not as good as Font of Power. So there I have 2 stacks, and hopefully by the end of the fight, you can get up to like 40 stacks or so, 50 stacks. I mean, if you're really lucky. And basically at the end of the fight, when you're doing your 3-minute Guardian, you're using Font, and then you're going to True Shot afterwards. That's when you use Ashvane Razor Coral in order to, you know, crit cap yourself. Basically to just get 100% crit during that final true shot that is just front loaded with all of your buffs. And that's basically how you're playing Marksmanship in this tier. You can technically, you can use Ashvane twice during I use it sometimes twice during a fight, the Coral trinket, because you are probably going to get crit capped at the end of the fight. And if you know you are, then you can use it with your second use of your Guardian of Azeroth. That would be when you would use it. Because basically your Guardian comes out and he's spiking shit, and he gets increased crit from the crit buff of the Ashvane Coral. So as you see, I have 4 stacks there, so all you have to do is reactivate the trinket, and then I gain that crit onto my character. So I have 28% now, and then without it I normally have 22. So that was 6% crit. That's pretty good for 4 stacks, but remember, you want to let it stack up a lot and then use it. And then obviously don't forget to reapply it like that. So reapply it right when it comes off cooldown, and then keep doing damage, and it'll keep proccing, of course. The other trinket is the on-use trinket, as well as the Font of Power. So this one, it just has flat crit, and then you channel for 4 seconds, and it gives you primary stat for 3k, and it's a lot, for 30 seconds. So I'll show you how this works. Basically, what you're going to do is, can I do a pull timer? I don't even know. Yeah, so if we're doing a pull timer, 9, 8, and then 7, you're going to do that. And then you're going to precast aim shot, and then you go into the boss. So that's how the pre-pull works. That's basically the best way to do that. You don't want to be doing it like now, because you're going to go into true shot. You're going to be doing damage moving. You can't be, just channeling that trinket. And the other thing you'll notice is it is, of course, an on-use trinket. And like all on-use trinkets, I think for probably since vanilla, they have a 20-second cooldown with each other. I remember, they nerfed it in like 1.08 or something. 1.0.8 or whatever that patch was in vanilla for like Zul'Gurub or something. I can't remember. But they made it so on-use trinkets, if you have 2 of them, no matter what, you have to wait 20 seconds between them. There are a few exceptions. There's some like special trinkets that for some fucked up reason, they don't follow that rule. But anyway, that's how it works with these. So the point being, you want to have Font and Coral up for your true shot. But let's look at a few things here. This is important. This is something I've had to really like learn, and like really, you have to really zone in on your rotation with this. The trinket takes 4 seconds to channel, but on that last like kind of tick, as you saw before, you can just watch the animation. Like at the end of the animation, it goes back up to 30 seconds. So it's not like you're starting at 30 and then it goes down 29, 28, 27. It goes like, it kind of refreshes the duration each tick that you're channeling. And so when you end, it's basically 30 seconds. It's about 29 seconds because you have to actually start doing another global cooldown or shit like that. But what that means is the buff the font buff lasts for 30 seconds, but the Razor Coral Trinket, you can't actually use it until 20 seconds after you've used font. So you only have 10 seconds of font left. So basically, you want to pop your True Shot, you know, right at about like 14 seconds left of font. And then during True Shot, you'll have your Razor Coral up. And you know, it's kind of like that. You kind of want to aim to use your, it's really hard to do it without showing. So I'll just show you really quickly. If I do, I'm actually going to be out of stacks, but I'll just do this for, so you see like right now I'm at 15, 14, 13, and I should have already used my Guardian. I'll just use Guardian just to show. So when it's at about like, you know, maybe 7, 6, 5, 4, like right about now, I could use it 3, 2, and then like be doing the first aim shot and then hit the Coral Trinket and activate to get that crit during this True Shot. This is a really, really big True Shot window. That's what you want to have, is all of the crit, and obviously the this guy, the Guardian, is debuffing the target with the 5% damage taken, and then you also have font. So that's basically what we're doing as Marks. That's the only new sort of complicated part of the rotation. Everything else is the same from the last tiers. You know, the rotation, like don't go to 2 stacks of aim shot and keep using your rapid fires and stuff like that. I think that's it for the Benthic. There's one other Benthic piece. I don't think I have it. No. So there's another one. It's called Vim's Scale Crusher Links or whatever. It's another belt. And it basically, the belt is a chance on hit to throw a, I think it's a clamshell. Yeah, it's a clamshell. It throws a clamshell at your target, and then it explodes in a 8-yard radius, I guess. It does sim, I mean, it sims really well. It actually doesn't quite sim as well as my 455 here, just because 455, I mean, Jesus. But it's really close. It's only like 200 or 100 DPS. It's pretty close. So I could almost use it and like try to get lucky with a proc. But that, the Vims, you know, VIMS, what is it? You know, Vims, that is the other Benthic piece that you want to look for. And then finally there is Powens. I will just spell that out as well, just so you can look these up on like Simcraft or whatever if you haven't encountered them before. But Powens, Powens gauntlets or whatever, gloves, those gloves, they have the same thing of the Benthic, where it's a chance on hit to shoot like a frost orb at your target. It also has a chance on hit to heal, but that is a different proc from the damage proc, so you don't lose damage from healing. You know, you get a little bit of extra healing, not bad. So that's basically all the new gear. It's just these 2 trinkets. These 2 trinkets, they are definitely very different to use, and it is difficult to get used to them like quickly. So when you do get these trinkets, just, you know, run some Mythic Plus. I've had to run like, you know, some extra little just raids or LFR or whatever, just to kind of practice, just to make sure I'm doing it perfectly every time. Because you have to plan ahead with that font, you know, channeling the font and then blasting. You have to like know the timing. Like you have to know if Lust is coming, then you use your font of power before Lust, and then like you're into Lust, you know, obviously stuff like that. So it's just a little bit more, you know, in depth with the way you have to play as compared to before. Finally, the Shiver Venom crossbow. This is just a really nice weapon. It's from the first boss, so it's pretty easy to get. It is just base crit, mine rolled with a socket, hell yeah. But the chance on hit damage is extremely powerful for a single target. It definitely beats the statted weapons. What is it? The Squid Hunters. Yeah, I kind of like that name though. I do want a Squid Hunter spear gun though, just to kind of like use it, especially for AoE or something. The Squid Hunter, it'll be a little bit better for AoE, you know, maybe Mythic Plus, because the Shiver Venom damage, it only hits 1 target at a time. I mean, I think if you multi-shot, it might hit that target, but it will never hit like 2 targets at once, basically. I mean, there's an astronomical chance that it could do that, but that won't happen very often. So for AoE, for Mythic Plus, you would still want to maybe aim for just a statted, haste mastery, whatever, crit verse, whatever, weapon. But for single target and for most encounters, I mean, for all the encounters in the raid, because you're as a hunter, you're going to be doing single target damage mostly. The shiver venom crossbow is definitely the best. The other consideration with that is hopefully your casters have the shiver venom trinket, which also drops from the first boss. So let's go to class and mage. So this shiver venom relic, yeah. So it's kind of the same as the Ashvein razor coral. Basically, you use it and it puts a dot. Or no, you don't even have to use it. Okay, I'm reading it right now. Okay, I mean, they have a chance to apply shiver venom. And it stacks 5 times and it lasts 20 seconds. Okay, it only stacks 5 times. That's interesting. I didn't notice that. But hopefully, I actually don't know how the casters use that. For me, I would love it if they would never use it until like right as the boss is dying, basically, and then use it, even though it's only stacks up to 5. But basically, this trinket is the only thing in the raid that procs this additional thing that says if an ally has afflicted your target with shiver venom, you deal another 7,600 frost damage. So that's plus the 11,000 nature damage. So that's great damage. I mean, that's definitely like, I think it ends up being almost 6% overall of my damage on like a single target sort of patchwork type fight. So that's shiver venom. That is the only other thing with gearing to talk about. And then finally, I mean, if you haven't encountered this other trinket over here in my bags, the dribbling ink pod, this is fire and forget. You don't really have to think about it, but I do have a few videos. I think my Ashvein kill and my Orgazoa kill, I was using this trinket. And there's a few things you can think about when you're, doing it. You want to crit with the 30% blast. So this trinket, it stacks up through the fight and then it blows up at 30% and then it does nothing. It just has agility after that. But it's a lot of damage. So basically what you want is you stack it up over the fight just passively. There's nothing you can do to do more or less. Just do your damage. And then at like 31%, you can use your razor coral trinket because it'll give you a bunch of crit. And you can also try to just use true shot and get an unerring vision stacks and then just try to crit cap yourself. Try to hit like 100% crit basically. And then when the boss hits 30%, this trinket, it basically explodes. All of the stacks, they will automatically explode. You don't have to do anything. They blow up and they deal damage per stack. I think my highest ever that I got with it, and I only had the heroic version. I actually haven't even used the mythic version because it just isn't as good as these two, even though these aren't mythic. But I think my highest crit was like 1.2 million. So that's a lot of extra damage. Unfortunately, other classes, the melee classes, the melee physical DPS, obviously, they stack the ink pod a little faster, and they're able to get a couple of more stacks on it, and then they also are stacking verse. I mean, I know Demon Hunters are. I think Demon Hunters, that's the highest crit I've seen is from our Demon Hunters, but maybe somebody else has gotten more. But for them, it can do like 1.8 million, I think, is the highest I've seen. So it's more than the Hunter. But if you have a bunch of these trinkets in your raid and they all blow up at once, obviously, that's like a lot of damage right at 30%. So basically the boss goes from 30 down to like 25%. He just skips like 5% because he just blows up for like 6 million damage from these ink pods. So that's a fun trinket. I mean, it's kind of fun. It's not quite as high as the DPS output as the Razor Coral font, but it's still really fun and it's still good DPS. Otherwise, I have this piece of crap. It's flat versatility and then chance to give me 1200 primary stat for 30 seconds. I use that for Mythic Plus. I mean, using font could be better in Mythic Plus, but like you have to plan ahead and you got to make sure that like, all right, dude, are you going to pull now? Okay, well, wait, like let me cast font and okay, now we can pull, like that's the kind of shit. And in Mythic Plus, unless you're on Discord with your buddies and like you can talk, you're not going to be able to like accurately font at the right time anyway. So that's basically it for the gear. Obviously, we're using the... Do I have one in my bags? Verse. No, but we are using this one, the Versatile Dark Opal. So the 50 verse gem, that's the one that we're using basically for everything. There's a tiny chance that if you have like almost zero haste, if you just for some reason don't have any haste, then gemming for haste can be good. But, and you know, that'll sim higher. But basically, you're safe just gemming and enchanting for versatility for this whole, what's the word? This whole tier. And versatility, it gains more power the more on-hit abilities you have, because versatility directly increases these. So if we, let's see, do I have something that only has verse on it? No. But this has haste. Well, you can see it's... wait, these... Okay, yeah, so these have mastery haste. But if you see, I take that off, so this is 11,000 damage, and if I take that ring off, it goes down to 10,700. So the verse from this ring is increasing the damage from the on-hit effect from the shiver venom. That also affects things like, okay, where is one? Yeah, the heed my call, so the chance on hit things. This is, what is it, 7,029. If I take this off, I want to use the bigger one. If I take that off, it's still 7,029 for some reason. Maybe it doesn't do those. Okay, well, I'm pretty sure it does Gut Ripper as well. Anyway, maybe not. I know it definitely also does the essences. So the essences, they also deal additional damage depending on your versatility. So that is why versatility is so good. It's just because of basically the essences and all the on-hit like Benthic effects and the traits, and obviously the shiver venom crossbow. And then Ashvane's razor coral. That's like... I mean, let's count them here. It's like Shiver Venom, Ori's, Poen's, Vim's. That's 5. Razor Coral, 6. Condensed Life Force, 7. What is it? Crucible Flame is 8. I think that's everything. So there's like 8 different on-hit effects, I'm pretty sure. Not even including the traits, which I'm pretty sure that works. So that is why Verse is so good. In case you were wondering, like, oh, what happened to our haste and mastery stacking, which I love, personally. I love haste mastery. As you can see here, my attack range has actually gone down. So I'm at 47 yards, and I have to go in. So I'm at 45 to 47. So I'm at like 46.9. I used to be at like 50, basically 50 yards. And it kind of sucks. You know, I kind of miss being able to stand like back here. Like, oh well, not too bad. Not too much of a difference. But finally, just real quick to wrap up, the essences. So by and large, the absolute best by far, there's nothing that even competes with it, is the Condensed Life Force Major. You want to have this in your major slot. The only reason you would ever not use this is because the 3-minute cooldown is just completely, irrelevant, or even the 30-second duration. He lasts for 30 seconds and it's a 3-minute cooldown. So if you're doing like one quick, little fight, like World Quest bosses or something, I don't know, like something stupid, like then you might use like, I don't know, Essence or Purification or some shit like that. But for single target, Condensed Life Force is just completely unbeatable. It is just absolutely unbeatable, and you're going to use it even from rank 1. I have rank 3, obviously. If you're not raiding like every week and you want to do good damage as a marksmanship hunter, but you're not in a raiding guild, just pug. Like find a pug, clear normal, try to clear heroic. Because Condensed Life Force, you will build up to it slowly. I mean, if you're doing Mythic every week, it's faster, but it only took us 2 weeks with Mythic kills to unlock this. So, I mean, if you're only doing Heroic, it's, 3.5 weeks or something. 3.5, I don't know what that means, 4 weeks maybe. And then on normal, it might be like 6 weeks. I don't know. But you can get there. So rank 3 Condensed is by far the best single target DPS you can do. Great for Mythic Plus, obviously. That's just the big blast. That's what controls this tier, is this essence basically. The focusing iris, I mean, this one's, it's kind of cool. Like it's a beam. I'm sure I can show you. I mean, I don't know if you've seen this, but like this one, rank 3, you can cast it while moving. And this does AoE damage, so it'll hit all this. Like if I had cast it on those dummies, it hits all of them, like in the line. Make sure you're aiming the line. So, you know, that one's pretty cool. It does a lot of AoE damage. They nerfed it a little bit the first week or so, and I can't switch these because it's on cooldown. Purification Protocol, that one is the one you might have seen. It calls down the beam from the air, and I just used it like in a Mythic Plus video like 30 minutes ago. The rank 3 is if an enemy dies in your beam, then you get 10% damage for 8 seconds. Not bad. And it also stuns any aberrations that are, hit by the beam. And it also deals 50% additional damage against aberrations with the passive, the minor. So the minor is just a chance on hit to hit a target and then explode like around it. It's kind of like Heed My Call, the Heed My Call trait. Maybe I think it's a little bigger. It's 8 yards. What is Heed My Call? Heed My Call is 3 yards. Yeah, okay, wow, it's only 3 yards, Heed My Call. That's kind of nuts. But that's Purification. I love this for Mythic Plus. It's great Mythic Plus. It's 1 minute cooldown, so you can line it up with True Shot almost every time using Vision of Perfection. I'll just go through this one. Vision of Perfection, it's not that great. I like it. But I use it for Mythic Plus, definitely. I just love it in Mythic Plus because you're just using True Shot over and over and over and over, and you're never really saving True Shot. I mean, you might save it for the beginning of a boss, but even then, like, you have a lot of leeway with this essence. It brings it down to like 47 seconds if you're in constant combat. Like if you're just hitting, if you're just doing damage consistently, doing a rotation without stopping, it's about 47 seconds. Cooldown on True Shot compared to about 1 minute and 17 seconds or 1 minute and 20, ish. So, that's like what, almost 30 seconds, right? No, it's more than 30 seconds. But so it's like, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I like it. You're going to do more damage maybe with Purification Protocol Minor and then whatever else major. But I just like having True Shots available and knowing that I'm about to get it and like I can reset the cooldown and then just use it again on trash, use it in Mythic Plus. I have also used it on some of the bosses during our progression when I did not have rank 3 Crucible. I mean, it was pretty good. I mean, it can be comparable if you do the timings perfectly. Like if your group's kill times are absolutely perfectly lined up with your True Shot usages, then it can be very good. But if you're kind of, if you have space in between like your final True Shot or your, second to final and then your final because you want to hold it for execute, stuff like that, then it's not that great anymore because if you're ever holding True Shot, and it's just not as good. But I like it. I mean, the major is terrible. The major is absolutely fucking terrible. I still like to use it once in a while just for fun. I mean, but it is really bad. It's a really bad essence, and I kind of wish they would buff it. Because I like, I kind of like True Shot. True Shot's cool. Like, I don't know. The Crucible of Flame, this is your absolute best minor. So the minor in here, the first minor slot. So we can go back to these. This is my raid setup is condensed major and then Crucible minor. That's just the most damage. The only thing I have ever put here in the minor instead was Vision for 1 or 2 bosses. Just kind of for fun mostly, but because it wasn't too much of a difference. But if you want to do maximum damage, it's Crucible minor. And then finally, these other ones that I want them to be good. I do. I want them to be good, but they're just not good. The Unbound Force. The major is actually, you kind of want to look at this really quick. So the major is, let's just read it really quickly. It's a 45-second cooldown, 40-yard range. So it's not, again, it doesn't use your attack range. You have to come into the 40-yard attack range, the caster range. So if you're standing at like 47 yards, like I am sometimes, you got to come into 40 to use this. So just keep track of that. And that's the same for all the other like on-use sort of targeted essences. But this one, it does damage to your target over 2 seconds, and then each time it's increased by 300% if it critically strikes. So using it like at the end of True Shot when you have a bunch of unerring stacks or something is really good. And it strikes a target with an immediate one. Yeah, so it's really good if you have a lot of crit, like during a crit cooldown, during Razor Coral, during Unerring Vision, Unbound Force is pretty good. The minor, like it could be good, but like it's just really bad. Like it's just terrible. It takes a long time to reach those 20 stacks. You know, when Reckless Force reaches 20 stacks, your crit is increased by 70% for 4 seconds. So that's basically crit cap for 4 seconds. Wow, that's so good. It's terrible. It's so bad. You have to completely like tunnel like, okay, I'm at 19 stacks, so I'm about to double tap, and then I'm going to multi-shot. Oh, I hit 20. Oh, I'm at, 70% crit, and then boom, double tap a rapid fire, and like, that's okay, but it's so hard to do that. It would be so hard to implement that kind of damage, that it makes the minor just terrible. And the major is okay. I mean, it does damage, and it's like, pew, 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 but it's just not as much damage as condensed, or really anything, but, for single target, it's okay, but you would just use condensed, why wouldn't you? Anyway, so, but just quickly, I just want to show the Unbound Force. You don't have to stand still, and it's an instant cast like that. So you see, I was moving that whole time, and I wasn't doing anything. It's basically, you cast it once, and then it's forget. So you can be doing rapid fire and then just hit Unbound Force. Well, I mean, finish rapid fire cast and then hit Unbound Force and then just go to aim shot immediately. You don't have to wait for the Unbound Force cast to, sort of finish. It's not like a channel or anything. It's not a cast. It's sort of an instant cast, and then it just kind of casts it after that. I'll show you here in 10 seconds. But let's just look at the other ones really quickly. World Vein Resonance. Now, this one can be good. This one can be okay. Only in the minor slot, though. You're only going to use it in the minor slot. You're never going to use the major slot. Please don't. Please, God, don't use the major. Even I wanting to make some of these SNCs good, or just hoping that I can make them useful, and they're not useful. World Vein is terrible major. The minor is actually really good. The minor is great for a fight like Orgazoa, and again, I have a video on that kill. That you can see we're all stacked during the fight, so you can see that World Vein Resonance would be good during fights that you're just all stacked all the time. All of you are stacked on each other, and you're all making lifeblood shards, and you can stay at the 4 stacks basically the entire time. And 4 times 213 is 70, so 874, right? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, 872. Extra agility, so just permanently, and that's a lot. 800, that's a lot. So that is a considerable minor power, and it should be considered if you are doing something like Orgazoa. I think that is the only raid boss right now. You could maybe do like a Savara shenanigans, or I guess maybe Blackwater Behemoth, but you would kind of have to be weird about it. So it's only good on Orgazoa. Otherwise, it's a terrible trait. Don't use it in Mythic Plus, because you're moving so much. You're just going to be leaving your shards behind, and you won't be able to use them to get the damage. Lucid, I only have rank 2. I haven't even done rank 3. Rank 3, rank 3 would be meh. I guess it's okay, but it's just not good for Hunter. We don't need this, we don't need to increase our focus generation rate, because remember, True Shot, it's already sort of locked into the cooldown reduction. This gives us focus generation, but we have enough focus. We actually, if we're generating more focus during like a True Shot window, which is like when you would use this, I guess, we actually can't use that extra focus. Like, hey, I've got all this focus, but I can't spend it. Like there's not enough buttons. So Lucid is just terrible. It doesn't work, and you can't really make it work. Blood of the Enemy, I haven't even unlocked this one, but I played with it on beta. It can be good. It's definitely a consideration if you're doing Mythic Plus, especially like for AoE. In raid, again, you'd have to play really weirdly. You would have to get within 12 yards, obviously, of your target, so like of the boss or something, and then blast him, and then do your cooldown. And I mean, that could be okay, but it's again, it's just not as powerful as condensed in single target. I mean, in AoE, yeah, you could try it. I would use Purification or Essence of the Focusing Iris for AoE. If you really want to, if you're trying to compete and do like a high Mythic Plus and try to kill shit in a timely fashion, you should use one of those other ones. But, Blood of the Enemy, it can work. I mean, you could have fun with it. Again, it's more for fun, not really for pushing the DPS. But if you like PvP and you've already unlocked all the ranks, unlike me, then it can be a fun little thing to use. This one, the PvP one, I mean, it's not even considered for PvE. And I think, yeah, I mean, we hurl a high explosive trap, and then it increases your verse by 52 for up to 5 times. Those are pretty good. I mean, the minor conflict and strife is actually a good consideration for probably your third one. It definitely won't be Crucible of Flame, but it could be a consideration for your third, level 65 minor. So, you can think about that. I haven't even done, obviously, rank 1, so, I don't PvP anyway. And then this one is completely garbage, unfortunately. This one, what? Yeah, I won't even talk about it. But yeah, finally, I just wanted to show. So like, if you are, let's do rapid fire, and then if we do Unbound Force, and then the global, and then into aim shot, you see I was casting aim shot, but it was still casting those things. So it's like arcane shot. You're using Unbound Force as if it's just a one shot, and then you move on to your next spell. So that's just the little thing to talk about there. That's it. That's basically everything. All the new stuff. Marksmanship is still terrible. Marksmanship is extremely weak. We do great single target damage. Like I got like, what was it? I was like number 5 in overall damage, not just for Marksmanship Hunter. It was number 1 Marksmanship Hunter, but it was like number 5 for all classes and specs for Mythic Savara. Oh wow, the single target like first boss of the dungeon. Like, I mean, it really does not matter. Like, who cares? Like that was fun for me to get, and then like my rogue friend got 4, and then the elemental shaman got 3 or something. Well, no, not elemental, but I think the rogue, yeah, our other rogue, he was the only guy that beat me on DPS, and he got like the 4th overall rank, and I had a 5th or something. So Marks is great for single target, yeah, but there are no considerations for single target in the raid. You absolutely must be able to do multi-target, multi-dotting, basically with targets farther away than this dummy and that dummy over there. Like farther than that, like, basically across the fucking room. You have to be able to do damage to 2 things that are really far away from each other, which Hunter is literally incapable of doing. So Hunter is really bad right now. I say that being like one of the best, or one of the highest ranked or whatever. Like, it's just not that great. And I should have played Shadow Priest. I should have played Warlock. I should have played Elemental Shaman if I wanted to be competitive. But if you are not pushing, if you're not pushing for Hall of Fame or for World Rank 1 or whatever, then Marksmanship, it can still be good. The talents are all the same. Yeah. It's whatever. So yeah, that is my updated little Marksmanship thing. I'm not going to say anything about the rotation. It's all the same. Watch my videos for that crap. And I will see you guys on Tuesday, right? Yeah, for my live stream. See ya.